The Minnesota Vikings started their playoff run as the best 5 seed ever. Through the regular season, the Minnesota Vikings put together a dominant 14-3 record, breaking expectations and finishing second in the NFC North. This Vikings coaching staff has gotten plenty of praise over the course of the season, and they just continued stacking wins. The season came down to the final game that had decided the number 1 seed in the NFC between them and the Detroit Lions. The Lions went on to have their way with this Vikings team, winning 31-9 while creating concern and question for Minnesota heading into the playoffs. The Vikings ended up playing the Rams in an NFC wildcard matchup on Monday Night Football after losing their chance at a first-round bye. The Minnesota Vikings came out of the Rams game with a tragic loss, where the Rams took control early and never let go. Today we'll look through the tape of this game, trying to break some of it down and make sense of what should have at least been a competitive game. And quick spoiler, it wasn't all Sam Darnold's fault, but with that said, let's get into it. We can start by quickly going over the Vikings ground game that never got going. Minnesota wasn't really a run team during the regular season, averaging just 109 yards per game, ranking 20th in the NFL. This is the first play of the game, and it was very telling. It's an outside zone, straight off the snap. 75, Brian O'Neill was stood up and driven back. Aaron Jones continued course outside, and 66, Dalton Reisner got beat to the spot, and this went for a loss. Unlike the former, this one actually went for a gain, but this play was still busted from the start. We're watching number 66, and off the snap, the D-line gets push, intruding on the lane, forcing Aaron Jones straight into contact. You can see why this wasn't a real run-heavy team. Even the runs that they've executed all year were bottled up by the Rams. Most of the McVay and Shanahan tree uses outside zone quite a bit. Right as there's action left, the linebackers come to fit the gaps, and the big men along the defensive front power through their blocks and make a play on the runner. When you struggle to run the ball and your leading rusher doesn't even meet 50 yards, that's enough to hinder your entire process and plan on offense. I hinted at this earlier, but I thought Sam Darnold played a much better game than he's receiving flack for. The reason you saw these sacks and all of the terrible plays from Darnold stemmed from the defense affecting the entirety of the offense. I'm certainly not saying that Darnold played a great game, and I want to make that known, but it seems people like to pile on Darnold, especially after the career he's had, but I don't think it's all justified. Early in the game, Darnold was smart with the ball and made the right decisions. You'll see an out from Jordan Addison, watch as Ahkello Witherspoon creeps up, and post-snap, he maintains coverage in the flat in position to undercut the route. Sam Darnold sees that and moves to the check down, smartly picking up 6 yards on second down. Similar play on the same drive. Jay Jettas and Jordan Addison are running this unique inside-outside combination with an angle route from the slot and a taller out route from Addison. Darnold rushes it, making sure pressure isn't a factor. He decides to take the check down instead of attempting a window throw to Jefferson, who may have been coming open late after Darnold already got the ball out. Here's a 2nd and 10 late in the game. They could use a great play about now. So Sam Darnold makes an incredible play. When Darnold hits that back foot, nobody's open. I mean, maybe you have Hawkinson, but pressure arrives, and as Darnold's throwing, look where Addison is. The anticipation and guts to make this play is ludicrous. The difficulty of this throw, the amount of trust he has in Jordan Addison, and there was no hesitation. It's all just very impressive, to me at least. Here's a 3rd and 15, inverted Mills on the right and a curl on the left, obviously targeting the sticks for the first down. The line doesn't come with a contained rush, so Darnold jolts through the pocket, finding and throwing Jay Jettas in a window to convert a 3rd and 15. There's examples throughout the game of Darnold doing the little things right and controlling what he can control. It's not very entertaining, but you'll have to take my word. Sam really didn't play at an F level in this game. To me, it felt more like a C- or a C. He still very much had his shortcomings and deserves some of this blame, but he was definitely better than he's getting credit for. The critical moments when you saw the sacks and the awful negative plays, I thought that's when Sam Darnold stood close to no chance. To me, hitting on my point from earlier, the Rams players and staff on defense did a tremendous job covering someone like Kevin O'Connell's offense. The more I watched, I saw the Rams pull out all the stops. I'm not quite sure how, but I'll go over a few and do my best to explain. Here's the second play on offense, and you have Justin Jefferson running an out from a split back spot, Jordan Addison running a curl in the same area, Hawks running a middle spot route, and Naylor on a very deep curl with Aaron Jones on a little swing route out of the backfield. In my opinion, this looks like a zone beater. The defense is playing man. Darnold reads out the left side and sees man. He'll progress and he's got nada. There's nothing. Pass rush is there before no time, putting Darnold on the ground for the first of 9 sacks that came in this game. The one thing Aikman called right in this game was this next play. Darnold's under center running a play action with very vertical routes on the field. Off the snap, Rams bring 6, one of which is the nickel coming off the blind side. He comes through unscathed right as Darnold turns and looks around. He's got pressure in his lap and absolutely no options. Obviously the correct and well-timed call by Chris Shula to put the quarterback on the ground again. Here we're looking at a design that I've never really seen before. There's double outs at the same depth and double digs also at the same depth. Darnold gets the snap, and in no time, the 4-man rush penetrates the pocket. Darnold's got nothing. He danced around for a sec, thought he had Jay Jettas. He didn't, then gets sacked. Sticky coverage, quick shuffle through his reads, and tried making a play. Can't really blame the guy. They've seen a lot of man coverage, so this 4th and 2, the call is a man beater. In fact, it's to isolate JJ on Witherspoon with Jefferson on a quick out and Naylor taking his man over top, creating a smash concept. So read 1 is obviously JJ, so let's watch him. As he slips, Darnold looks over the middle, nothing. Pressure gets in quick and takes him down on 4th and 2. Tough break. There's probably another couple more plays that fall into the same bucket, but there's also a few big plays that old Sammy D was flawed too. Again, I still think the media and people are being a bit too harsh on Darnold's performance, but by no means am I saying he was playing perfect, let alone good. Speaking of underwhelming, one of my favorite coaches, Kevin O'Connell, had a bit of a rough day. The Rams defense tied for the 5th most touchdowns allowed on defense. The Vikings managed to score one touchdown. And 12 different Rams defenders registered a pressure in next-gen stats system. Can't have all that. Even just looking at this play, Hawks motioned into a stack, and this is supposed to be mesh with Hawk running the out. Instead, let's watch JJ and Naylor. They're running the same route. Sam luckily found Hawkinson and gained some yards. The mesh was initially the read, but Darnold ditched that and moved on to bigger and better things. Here's an idea. Let's run to the weak side with no polars, and it's not a counter. Cam just ran too far outside, missing on the design gap, and no one pointed out to Akers that they didn't have the numbers to block on that side at all. This defense has been spontaneous with blitzes, and the front has struggled, so the Rams bring Roseboom. Reisner apparently doesn't get paid enough, and the protection's for a screen. So the backer flies straight in, rushing the screen pass that's actually dropped. Even had this been completed, 56 ain't getting out there. I doubt this play works out in Vikings' favor anyways. The offense just didn't look ready, players were sloppy, and there wasn't a lot of answers that we typically see from a coach of Kevin O'Connell's caliber. Lots went wrong, and I'm sure that this will be used as a learning lesson to get better and improve. But I'm also sure it'll leave a bit of a sour taste behind. Now that Sam's bad in the public eye, and that's the last impression he made, maybe you can gaslight him to the point where you're paying 50 cents on the dollar for him. I think that the right move is to re-up Darnold and keep him in Minnesota. I don't think you can disregard and simply forget the regular season and what this team did with him as the signal caller. I think you also need to see some investment in a new running back and some resources along the interior of that O-line. I know there's a lot that needs to be done for this front office, but we'll see what's prioritized and what's not. I still think O'Connell's a great coach and someone that there should be no doubt about. I'm not saying anyone's thinking about firing him, I just don't want to see the overreactions from people on the interweb talking crazy about this staff. I'd also believe that the players in the organization understand that and know KOC is a pretty damn good option. And that'll be it for me. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed, go ahead and leave a like, go down, subscribe, go to the past content on the channel. It would mean a lot, and I'll see you guys next time. Deuces.